Imagine growing up in a narcissistic household where it feels like you are part of a perfectly staged play where everyone is casted into a role and the parents being the director of the show. Love is conditional, praise feels like manipulation, affection is withheld as punishment, and every move you make is part of an unspoken competition. What if your identity, whether you are the golden child or scapegoat, wasn't chosen by you, but by a parent with an insatiable need for control? Narcissistic parents create invisible but ironclad roles for their children, and these roles shape how their children show up in the world as adults and also in their relationship, affecting also their self-worth. The scapegoat will usually be the child most similar to the narcissistic parent, triggering the parent to self-reflect on their own traits they might struggle with. But instead of dealing with these struggles, they find it easier to project all their bad feelings about themselves on their chosen scapegoat. The golden child displays the traits that the narcissistic parents believe are best about themselves, therefore using the golden child as a mirror to remind themselves how perfect they are. At the core of this dynamic is a narcissistic parent, someone who is obsessed with maintaining control, admiration, and power. Their love isn't freely given, it's transactional. Children growing up in these households aren't seen as individuals but an extension of the parent's ego. The parent assigns rigid roles to their children, creating a hierarchy within the family. The golden child who can do no wrong and the scapegoat who can do nothing right. These dynamics follow children from narcissistic household into adulthood, shaping how these children perceive themselves and the world. On the surface, it seems like the golden child has it easy. The parents' consistent praise, celebration of every success, and the disregarding of every mistake. But unfortunately for these children, the truth is much darker. Narcissistic parents only invest in things they completely dominate. They don't actually love the child because narcissists don't know how to love. And this child's internal world and emotional stability and cognitive development were never prioritized. Instead, they are taught that love and affection are completely conditional and can be withdrawn at any time. This manipulation subconsciously forces the golden child to reject their healthy individual self and become the parent's dependent purveyor of narcissistic supply for the parent. Blinded by their own grandiosity and lack of empathy, the golden child never develops a healthy perception of their personality, strength, ability, and boundaries. This cognitive dissonance means they are destined for a lifetime of validation seeking and constantly feeling empty. Even in adulthood, they aren't treated like autonomous humans, but instead they are their parents' satellite, more like a pet or puppet, a recon agent used to control the rest of the siblings. The individuality is forbidden. They are molded into the parent's replica of the parent's false self, a copy of a copy. The scapegoat becomes the family's designated villain. They are blamed for the family's problems and subjected to criticism, no matter how unwarranted. The scapegoat is demonized, providing a convenient outlet for the narcissistic parent's frustration and insecurities. The scapegoat is often independent-minded and emotionally sensitive, traits that threaten the narcissist's need for control. In response, the parent smothers them with criticism, belittles their achievement, and projects their own flaws onto them. The scapegoat usually enters adulthood with deep feelings of inadequacy, shame, and very low self-esteem, and carry the wound of emotional neglect or abuse into their relationships. However, the scapegoat has a unique advantage of seeing the narcissistic parent's facade. This awareness can fuel their healing and help them break free from the toxic dynamic, often at the cost of going no contact with the family. If the golden child breaks free of the toxic dynamics, this child is knocked off their pedestal and becomes the target of the parents' devaluation and pathological envy. So, in conclusion, all children raised in a narcissistic household are victims, whether it's the scapegoat or the golden child, who will have to go through extensive healing as adults to break free from the mental and emotional chains put on them by the narcissistic parent.